Thursday, November 23, 2021. I'm Pastor Michael, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Our text is from Deuteronomy 30. And Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, "Be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them, and you must divide it among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." Verse 7 and 8. Many of you will have heard the words of our text in one form or another before. In several variations, they are repeated throughout the end of Deuteronomy and recur in Joshua 1. They act as a bookend here because in the early chapters, God tells Moses to encourage and strengthen Joshua. This is the first transition of leadership that Israel is experiencing. They have spent 40 years in the desert under Moses' leadership. They are on the brink of entering the promised land, but Moses is not going with them. One can imagine that many of the Israelites wondered if Joshua was up to the task, and we know that Joshua was nowhere near sure that he was, and who would blame him? As such, these words have often been used in the Christian church to commission new leaders. I've used them as a text for installation services for new elders and deacons. They are fitting for such occasions and should continue to be used to encourage all who are taking on leadership roles within the Christian community. Also, it is good to refer to them whenever Christians are going through strenuous days, such as during a pandemic. The key words in the commissioning are be strong and courageous. They are not meant merely for a psychological boost. They are based on two great truths. First, the existence of Israel, and now the church, proves the faithfulness of God. God promised to give them this land. God has invested his reputation in the future of this people, and so ultimately, responsibility for them rests on him. Recall that Moses used this fact to effectively intercede for Israel when God threatened to abandon them. You can find an occasion in Deuteronomy 9, 26-29. Jesus launched the church on this foundation. To Peter he said, "I will build my church," Matthew 16:18. This is the first time the word church is found in the English translations of the Bible. Every participant in the church needs to remember this promise. The very fact that the church exists 2,000 years later demonstrates Jesus keeping his word. Secondly, Christian leaders can count on the unfailing presence of God. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. According to Matthew, Jesus finished his earthly ministry with these words, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." 28 verse 20. In John 20, Jesus' disciples are afraid. 3 times Jesus shows up and says, "Peace be with you." With these words, at the conclusion of his ministry, Jesus is inviting his disciples to remember the transition between Moses and Joshua. Like Joshua took over from Moses and Elisha from Elijah, they are to take over from him. But there is one big difference. Moses died, Elisha went off to heaven, and Jesus is going there too. But he will be coming back through the Holy Spirit. He will be with them to the very end. He has kept his word from then to now, and we can be sure he will keep it till he returns. So Christian, even if you do not have a leadership role in the church, be strong and courageous. Jesus calls you to be his disciple in the classroom, in the kitchen and laundry room, in the office and on the job site and on the playground. Be strong and courageous. He is with you. As you journey on, go with the blessing of God. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May he bring you home rejoicing at the wonders he has shown you. May he bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.